And welcome my fab fans to Glam video. I'm multiple ethnicities. So people just assumed that meant I thought I was colored. I'm not. I never said that. But apparently a person assumed that I didn't think that Portuguese could be white. There's multiple ethnicities that go into what originated to become Portuguese. But a lot of Portuguese people see themselves as mixed rather than white, as a lot of them are more on the darker side. Usually what makes you darker is if you go outside. But the whole thought process started with me being like, wow, I'm just so much whiter than my parents. Like the whole start, like my thought process. And it all started because my uncle said, "You're really white for a Portuguese." I hope you know this was an actual comment that my uncle said to me when I left the house to grab something out of my... Like, you're really white for a Portuguese. The thing is, there's two that is blank when it comes to knowing all of my ethnicities, and I do not know what my grandmother fully is, because my dad stated, and I will quote, "She's every ethnicity." Technically, that is not scientifically possible, but that means that there's just no clue what is the mix to create what she is. So I have no idea what other ethnicities are in my social group, you know? As far as I'm concerned, I'm pretty sure something white. Because from photos I've seen of her, she's a very pale woman. And on my mom's side, I have no idea what my grandfather is, other than a schizophrenic. I heard Italian. I know my grandmother is French-Canadian and Irish. So I'm not sure what that means, but I also know that, like, no, I don't. I really don't. Like, I understand that they group a bunch of ethnicities together to make people who don't really know what they are to just click whatever makes the most sense, which is why I really want a DNA test, because I want to know more about my ethnic backgrounds, because I like culture, and I find that very significant to me. Because I never really knew what culture meant. I will state, I still don't fully understand how to define culture and whatever my culture is, so I'm just gonna state it as American, because as far as I'm concerned, American culture is just a mixing pot. So you're just a little bit of everything, just a bit of different seasonings or herbs, depending on your spice tolerance. Me talking about a topic I don't really know very much about, because I kind of want people to talk about it a bit more so that they can explain it to me in simpler terms without going into too much detail. That would bore me. But we're all fusion dishes. We're all combination plates. Except the people who are like 100% of ethnicity. Which, according to science, is technically also not possible because of evolution existing. So that also confused me. Considering evolution exists, technically ethnicities don't make sense at all. And it's all cultural based. You can be born under certain ethnicities without the culture, which would mean you're technically not those ethnicities, according to one article that I read. And I'm like, well, I mean, if you're born something and don't know about it, you can never learn about it. But I like learning about all ethnicities and all cultures, but not really the ethnicity itself, but the culture behind anything, because I find culture really interesting. I can't believe this all started with me getting white shamed by my uncle. He just said I was really white, okay? That's what started my whole thought process. He said I was really white for a Portuguese woman. I just don't go outside. I mean, according to some of my ways I live my days, I like to just not go outside because I don't want to tan. But a lot of cultures are based off of just where you grow up. The use of the word. Too much light is hitting my eyes. Something I know that my hair is capable of when I was actually taking care of it properly was my hair would do full curls. And I was very proud of being able to do that with my hair and get it to like make full spiral curls. Very tight curls too. But it takes a lot of effort to do that. Because that means I have to maintain the moisture in my hair. I have to make sure it's not too dry. But my hair is almost always dry, so no real fix for that. Something I realize that people may do is technically eating can become a form of self-harm. And I thought about that because my brain said it randomly. And I'm like, I mean, if you eat spicy food because you like the pain, isn't that initially like a more tame, less visible version of self-harm? Like if you want to hurt yourself without leaving a scar, you could eat something that hurts your stomach or your mouth, something that makes you cry. But then on the other hand, some people like eating spicy food for the pleasure of it because they find pleasure in the pain. Which means it can both be very sexual and or very dark at the same time. These are sleepy time thoughts from Confused Glamour. Now let's move on to something else because I'm still tired and still groggy. But sometimes my brain just wanders into zones of I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, and I hope someone helps explain it to me in a way that I'd understand, but I probably won't be understandable. Because I remember a person trying to explain what culture was, and I was like, do I even have a culture? Like, what can you say even is your culture if you don't know what culture means? Because I remember once being told that, like, traditions are cultural. But, like, I was also told that culture also matters to ethnicity. And I was like, okay. And then I was like, what the fuck am I? You can call me stupid for not understanding culture, though. Because I agree. I wish it was easier for me to understand, but I don't. I also don't know why it matters, but it literally said on one clip that I read through that ethnicity is based off of evolution. Like, you kind of just, like, grow up in a certain way, and that becomes an ethnic group after a while when everyone starts following the same traditions. And I was like, and that also made me question, does ethnicity even really exist? Or is it just evolution stating that we're slightly different variants of the same creature? But we are slightly different variants of the same creature. That's what makes us human. Groggy thoughts with me is always based off of confusion and my lack of understanding of a certain topic. Because I really have no clue what I'm talking about. I read words and now I'm repeating them in a weird way of how I understood them. And it could be wrong because guess what? Sometimes you can be both right and wrong at the same time. But I still trying to figure certain things out always confuses me. There's a handprint on my computer. I did research and I found out that my family is from like all over the world because I wanted to find out my family tree and stuff, to find out my origin, because I'm curious about my ethnicity and what it really is, because I can't really believe word of mouth, as my family members are known to be pathological liars. I know, it sucks, but you just deal with what you're given, you know? And well, I found out some of them are from South Africa, some of them are from India, some of them are from Peru, some from Mexico. We're just scattered about the planet. Mostly American, though, so that makes the most sense, to be honest. But I also didn't see any Portuguese, so I don't know if I'm looking at this correctly, so I don't even know if I'm Portuguese anymore. I was told I'm Portuguese. I'm gonna do more research and maybe take a DNA test, because at this rate, what the fuck am I? Is my whole life a lie? Because I know Portuguese means you're from Portugal. What are Peru people called? Prunes? That's a joke. I don't actually know. That was a real question. Please continue. I'm gonna look it up later on Google. So I remember at one point my mom was like, your grandmother's lying about what she is ethnicity-wise. And I'm just like, okay. Why do you think that's? Like, where's the proof? What are we, Mom? What are we? And all that made me there's people in my family from all over. Something I'm thinking is, I don't think I'm directly related to all of them. At least some of them must be cousins, right? But I also don't know how the app fully works. But it does look through, like, records and stuff, like government records and birth certificates and things like that, to find out family trees and stuff and who you're related to. Most of mine is just a bunch of death records that showed up. So a lot of my family members are already dead. Yeah, so there's not really much to look through when it comes to living people. I actually tried to find out whether I could just look through only the living ones. There's so many dead relatives in my family. It's like all of them were born around the same time, and then everyone stopped having kids, which is honestly kind of accurate. The thing is, the website is known to be quite accurate, but the thing is, the information it asks for is really generalized, so how accurate can it really get? You can tell I'm tired, itchy. Yeah, I am getting down to the wire of this one diamond dot, though. I think I might be coming down with a cold or something. I hope not. I just had a person cough in my face earlier today and have to open their car window and door completely so that they could vomit. That was nasty. Just had to stand there and witness. I wish I knew more about what am I, and could trust just word of mouth. Because some of it said some of my family comes from Mexico, and I didn't know that any of them were from anywhere near there. Not a bad thing. Nobody said anything. But I also don't know most of my family, which one of my friends finds unbelievably baffling, that I don't know most of my family. It's not really anything important in my family. We kind of just don't need to know each other, so we don't. We don't need to know who we are. But that's also probably why my dad ended up marrying my aunt. They might not be directly related, but I sure as hell am related to my aunt. Probably gonna do a DNA test. The thing is, if I do a DNA test and find out my actual ethnicity background and my family tree, not only can I just have that information available, I can also start being an egg donor. I don't want my eggs, and I'm not going to use them anyway. Other people should be able to. I mean, if donating your eggs means a woman who actually wants kids and is willing to do anything for children to have them and stuff, I wouldn't mind giving them the opportunity to attempt. One of my mom's friends wanted kids her entire life. and her whole family blamed her for not being able to have children. Religious assholes. Not all religious people are bad, but her family that is religious, yes. They bring the whole group down. They make people very wary of religion. I mean, I don't trust most religious leaders, like priests and stuff, because I believe most religions are cults. Like, if you have to join a church and pay your way into it, that's basically like, I don't know. You can't pay to get into heaven, but some people use it as a pay-to-win game, which is not how it works. I have pain in my thigh, and it won't go away. Do your joints ever just start hurting? Like, one minute you're fine, and then all of a sudden there's just tightness around your bones. Feels like your skin is being stretched taut and crushing the inside of each layer slowly. That is what my bones feel right now, is crushing. They feel like they're getting crushed. The chances of me finishing this are slim to none. But I'm still gonna try. There's a lot of really interesting foods. One of the things that was brought, though, was a tuna salad. I did not expect anyone to bring that. But you know what? It's not as gross as I thought it was going to be. Because I've had tuna salad before in my youth, and I hated it. I thought it was absolutely horrendous. But the tuna salad was edible, so I'll call that a win. I definitely ate too much spicy food today, so I have extremely bad heartburn right now. Something a show discussed was how to look for unclaimed scholarship, which is really intriguing because that would be a good thing to look for in order to get a scholarship in the first place. It would also help you pick out what college you want to go to a lot easier and what would be more affordable. I mean, I chose my specific college because of its affordability. I hope you know my camera cut out at one point when I was filming. And I just was like, no, you know what? I'm just going to do some research because clearly my camera does not want me to film right now. I've been having a lot of camera issues lately. More than usual. I think I might have to switch providers again. Because I remember I was using this one service to film with my computer. And it wasn't working as well as I wanted it to. And then it said, no more free. And I was like, well, no more this app. Looked for a new one. That's how I ended up with this one. Now it's starting to do the same buggy thing as the old one. So, the reason I'm using free apps is because I don't get paid for YouTube. And until YouTube can pay for itself, I will not spend a single dime on anything I wouldn't have already bought. I mean, I didn't even buy my camera. My dad gave it to me. Thanks, Dad. My parents are very supportive. Which is why I even am allowed to do art and film YouTube in the first place. I'm a full-grown adult. I can do what I want, but without the support, I wouldn't have the funds to do so, you know? I watched a little bit more of Dexter. And he was like, maybe he did finally listen to my advice after the kid killed himself. Take out the trash. He took out himself. If you felt no emotion, I feel like life would be super boring. Literally anything that could make you feel even a little bit. I understand why they'd try to go for it. People like feeling emotions. I mean, bad ones, not necessarily, but I mean, have you ever felt like it's nice to cry sometimes? Because the feeling after I'm done crying is just pure and utter peace. To let out the pain, and I feel safe and comfy again. I don't like going out of my comfort zone, which is probably why dating would be almost impossible for me. Because dating means trying new things. Dating means switching up schedules, which I hate changing my schedule. Call me greedy, but I prefer it to stay the same constantly. As much as I enjoyed the cookout, I kind of wish I didn't go. Because now I'm behind on my filming schedule, and it's making me really anxious. One of my coworkers, though, said, yeah, those two are dating. And he's like, don't say, and my manager's like, don't say that, she'll believe you. Because a lot of us make gay jokes about the straight guys, and the wife retorts, alright, I would've. I mean, anything's possible in this day and age. And that was a hilarious response. I mean, they could have been. Like, imagine if she still believed that they were dating, and then just one day asks her husband, so, are they gonna ever, like, plan a wedding? Like, how long have they been dating? And he'd just have to be like, they're not together. Just friends. They really are just friends. I still think it's wild that my soul is like, your brother might actually be gay. He doesn't like women, which would make sense why my brother chooses such masculine women. He doesn't want a woman, he wants a mite. Like, imagine? Like, it's a possibility. He's only ever dated women, but I've read a lot of manga, and some of them have a character that thinks they're straight, and then was like, well, I'm falling for this man, so I must not be. Sexuality's just whatever. One term I used to use a lot to describe my sexuality is demisexual, but that's not entirely accurate, since I can't fall in love with men. If a man tells me they're attracted to me, I immediately become really hostile and defensive. Because it's like, what the fuck? What's wrong with you? Which would explain a lot of my personality traits being so fucked up. Where is Peru? And what do you call people from Peru? This is where my lack of geography knowledge is the worst. I failed geography. I failed most history classes, so I don't really know or understand it all. And the irony is I was the type of student to always write down notes, very detailed, but sometimes history just never clicks and information just doesn't stay or make sense to a person. And every time I was in history, none of the information ever stuck or made sense to me. When it came down to inspection, most of our issues came down to tags being wrong. It was really unfortunate. But it's not like we had any time to change any tags, so sometimes when my friend comes home from work, she's crying the whole time, and it's really unfortunate. But I don't have to work tomorrow, so I'm probably gonna take a nap as soon as I get home from babysitting. And you're like, wait, isn't babysitting work? And I'm like, not really. I make sure the kid doesn't kill himself, and if the TV gets knocked out or a cord gets pulled, I yell at him and punish with explanations. Like, you have to listen to my hour-long explanation of why you shouldn't do this or touch this because you could break this. Explanations. When I take something away, it's not because it's gonna be gone. It's because I need them to acknowledge what I'm saying. So I make him answer questions after I'm done speaking and repeat back the answers that I need from him, you know? He's not a dumb kid, but he did say that he appreciates that I take a long-ass time to explain why the punishment is what it is. Like, you can wait for it because you haven't even apologized for disconnecting it in the first place. Are you sorry for touching the wires type situation? The kid will apologize if he makes mistakes, okay? It's not even me being angry either. Like, I make him very hyper aware that most of my actions are not out of anger, but out of just distress. I also try to make sure that he learns this thing called give mom time after work so that she can smoke, so she won't beat your ass mentally instability wise because she needs her meds for her bipolar. And she's going to make it very apparent that she does have a mental disorder, because at the end of the day, the more aware people are of your mental disorder, the more they're just going to take everything you say with like a grain of salt. Like, they're just a little fussy today. They must be uncomfortable. Or something earlier must have just ticked them off. It happens. Or they're in a state of mania. She is bipolar, and I've dealt with bipolar many times in multiple forms. And my reaction usually is just stay calm and breathe. And offer comfort. That's the best you can do, is just wait out the storm. And a week of this one class, and then I'll be able to have more. 1 week of just not worrying about school, but instead worrying about footage get done. And both I procrastinate on equally, so it's a lose-lose situation, but it's okay. I really need to re-dye my hair, because I looked at my bangs after the last wash. They are so blonde. There's nothing wrong with being blonde, it's just I wanted purple to stay in my hair. And it has been for a while. Imagine I said this was done when I didn't finish it yet. Because from the camera, it looks pretty done. But it's not. This color kind of reminds me of, like, if you mix every, like, paint on a tray together, and then add white. All the colors of the rainbow, but white. With white. Have you ever made lip gloss out of crayons? I have. It was one of my first, I remember my favorite colors to use were specifically like greens and blues, because I knew lipsticks were not normally those colors. And I just felt it was more interesting, because I mean, I'm interesting. If a kid's action resembles their parents, is that considered an insult? Because I never considered it an insult. Because I always assumed parents wanted their kids to be like them, otherwise why would they have kids? But my parents always had this, like, thought of, well, yeah, our kids are exactly like us. That's why we love them. We wouldn't have them any other way. Because we love ourselves. Self-love into child care. Like, my friend was like, well, yeah, one of my kids is, like, really clingy. And I'm just like, isn't that, like, a good thing? They see you and your husband clinging to each other and being in love and happy, and they're gonna do so too. That means when they're an adult and they finally find someone they love, they're gonna show them the world, or whatever part of it they want to be in. And clingy is not a bad thing. It just means you're in love. And if you never leave the honeymoon phase, you're lucky. Because some people can't even leave the single phase. Because their schedule won't allow. Anytime something breaks in my workplace, though, it doesn't get fixed for like months. One of my old coworkers is finally back. Everyone missed him. But one thing he was like, why didn't you talk about like my whole like girlfriend art? So all of the girls would help this kid out, ask this girl out, because it was so very obvious to everyone that they were deeply in love and ready to be together. They were already making time for each other and stuff. And they're still together. Though the first thing he said was, yeah, she cheated on me. With a space. In a dream. And I was like, that's so cruel. Like, boy, I was about to be sad for you. Because y'all seemed so happy. And they are happy. You're just like messing with people. I was about to be so upset. I hate cheaters. I mean, look at my brother. He's a cheater, and I don't respect that. Whatever the opposite of respect is. dishonor on you, dishonor on your cow. Something I realized is I've watched every single, one of the Tinkerbell movies, and I still have not cosplayed as Tinkerbell, despite one of my nicknames being Tink. And it's because when I was younger, Mom would always see me tinkering with something, or making something, so she'd call me Tink or Tinkerbell. Which is cute, respectable. I still don't know whether that app is real or, accurate or not. According to Google, they're extremely accurate as, an app, and they do go through, government databasing to find out what you are. I realized I never finished my thought. I remember I walked into my favorite restaurant, and it was, a few minutes before close, and I was if you don't have what I'm looking for left, it's okay. But, the one thing I wanted is, a prepared soup that they have overstock of for every day, because it's the main thing the restaurant is known for is their soup. And so I asked, do you have any soup? They did. I ended up getting my order, and I was so ecstatic and so thankful to the staff for giving me the one thing I wanted, which was the soup. That's all I wanted. I just wanted some soup. I felt so bad for bothering them, because as a person who works for fast food, bothering a person in the same type of line of work is so upsetting. I didn't even want to dine in. I just wanted one thing, and I really did only get the one thing. I know some people would say more than the one thing and overstep their boundaries, but I really did only want just wanted a specialty soup. But I just wanted to go order of just one thing of pen carme. Penang carme. They obliged. That was a great day. Though I can't wait till the next day I work, because my manager's gonna bring in the rest of the cookout food for the rest of the week, because we had so much food left over. So much food. Because we all brought a lot of food with us. I'm excited. Anyway, I finished this diamond art. Peace, love. Have a good day, my fab fans, and I'll see you in the next video. Good night.